to Joel Sal.
Someone actually wrote me a thing the other day. I'm sure I talked about it on the show where it's like, damn it, Joel, why do you let that Benny guy be so mean to you and walk all over it? I'm like, oh, he's a big old softy off the show. Someone actually wrote me a thing. It's just his way.
Yeah.
Oh, well, he hurts me because he cares.
Because he cares, yes. You don't know him like I know him.
You don't understand our relationship. He hits me. He only does it when he's drinking.
He only does it when he's streaming.
Yeah, really.
Like, oh, okay. Well, in that case,
that's Benny's alcohol streaming.
He doesn't mean it. He doesn't mean it. Like,
he's just live. And so are we.
It's my fault I didn't have the podcast on the table in time or something.
Damn.
Yeah.
We're not live, are we?
We are live right now!
Are we really?
I told you we were live 5 minutes ago!
Fine. That dark joke's on me. It's fine.
Oh my god.
But it will not be in the show. Alright,
Still not the worst thing I've said on
Let's kick off the show here, ladies and gentlemen. And by ladies, I just mean gentlemen.
Oh, I'm sure we have some lady fans.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Weekly Poll. I am Sal from ComicPOP. Benny the Comic Historian is not here. He is instead in Chicago, or at least on his way there. But I am, of course, joined, as always, by Rob from Comics Explained, and, of course, Joel from Cape Joel. We're going to do the best we can with what we've got. And what we've got are three titans of comic book YouTubing, and Joel has picked out some terrific topics for us to discuss this week. Hopefully Rob will be interested in joining us at some point in the discussion. But Joel, let the good people
at some point care about what we're talking about.
Let the good people in the chat, and of course those at home, know what is happening in the world of comics, or rather what happened, because we missed the last episode because Rob and Benny and I, along with Eris from Valiant, were over at the Valiant offices checking out the new stuff at their big old summit. So what do we miss?
We sure were.
Well, we didn't really miss anything. We just doing the podcast.
That's true. We were doing that rather than talk about what was happening in the mainstream.
We got a nice mix
universe
of old and new news for those wondering, and for those asking, I read the comment section on that Valiant episode you guys did. And I think one of the top rated comments was, "Man, Joel must be so jealous right now you didn't get to go." Truth is, wasn't jealous until I saw the mugs you guys were drinking out of. Then I became more jelly than.
By the way, everyone left them.
Everybody left them. I was going to say that. Like they were like, you guys can keep the mugs if you want. We're like, awesome, man. We're going to take these mugs with us, and they're going to be really cool. Yep. And it's going to be really cool to have on like the show and stuff like that. Every last one of those damn things.
Every one of the mugs. Rob actually arranged it so that he could take a special last edition version of a Bloodshot mug home with him. Yeah. It was like from a corporate executive office, and he was like, "Can I have this? I know it's the last one ever, and they're never going to make any more, but can I have it anyway?" And they're like, "Sure." And then he left it on the conference table.
If I ever got invited to Valiant, not only would I not forget to take the mugs, I would take more mugs. I would be taking staplers and pens. Might even steal a couple rolls of toilet paper from the corporate bathroom.
Let me tell you something. You know who really made out on that deal? Were the three recipients of the Valiant packs that we gave away during that episode. Because when we finished wrapping the episode, we were like, okay, let's make those packages for people. What are the size boxes you have, Valiant? And they gave us boxes the size of, I don't know, a small VW microbus. Like...
Nice.
It was basically like this big, and they were just fill it, just fill it to the brim. We're just choked with comics, and we gave like full runs, and it was just unbelievable. Although I will say, ComicPOP did not leave empty-handed. We did get this swell weapon of destruction. Maybe not mass destruction, but certainly. Local and intimate destruction. This is a
enough that nobody else could take it, because if we brought on a plane, we would promptly be removed and then taken into custody somewhere.
Yeah,
disappear.
I don't know if you guys have traveled in the last little bit, but the airport, little aggro. It's a bit of an aggro place.
I will say this thing is sharp and dangerous. It is glued. It is not. They don't have like a screw through the top, so if you do swing it too hard, the head will come off and it will cut you.
And it will hurt somebody.
Who put a hole in the coffee table with that? I think it was Tim. Ethan. Yeah, Ethan put a hole in my coffee table with it.
Did he really?
Just by gently putting it down. chunk, left a hole, was like, whoops, hopefully no one will notice, looks around, everyone's looking at him.
Employee of the month over there at the ComicPOP office.
Right? Anyway,
I think it'd be time to go ahead and let that employee go. Be like,
right?
It's time for us to part ways with you, man.
That's strike one, Ethan, hurting the coffee table.
Chop one.
Yeah.
So what's happening in the world of comics, Joel?
Well,
did I say Joel or did I say Ethan?
Ethan was the one who made the mistake, so you were right.
Yeah, but I thought I said Joel when I was like, we got to get rid of you.
It's just a reflex to blame Joel for everything.
You got to text
what Joel doesn't know, guys, is that we're going to fire him as soon as he gets home.
It's coming.
Joel, it's time for you to go.
See, I'm already 2 strikes in. I'm going to be batting up strike 3 any minute now.
You laugh. Just wait till this phone call's over. You'll be laughing.
You laugh.
which means I should get to the news right quick while I have.
Let's do it.
It was a very DC heavy sort of week this week. I figure we'll start with the new stuff and work our way back to the old stuff. DC has a new logo now to go along with DC Rebirth. You see that?
You know, a lot of people have been kind of up in arms about that. I mean, I see it as a throwback to what they used to do.
Yeah, it's like their 70s logo. Yeah,
it's their old 70s logo. Which I mean, and I don't know if you guys caught the interview yesterday, and we'll get to some of the news that Geoff Johns dropped yesterday.
Right.
But during the interview that they had, Geoff Johns was like, "We want to make things lighthearted, back to the way that it used to be."
As they should.
As they should, which I think adjusting their photo is a great step in that direction.
Yeah.
To make things lighthearted and make things fun.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely. And here's the thing too. That old logo, that New 52 logo that we've had for like 4 to 5 years now with the little page and everything. Yeah. Kind of ugly. Was never a fan of it.
It's funny. I kind of dug it. I liked it more than the first redesign that everyone kind of got up in arms about after the Bullet logo, which is my favorite because, of course, I grew up seeing that logo, which is the DC with the stars around it. Loved that logo.
Good one.
Then they changed it. It was DC with like some stars swirling around it, and I felt like it was so 2000, and I was ready for it to be over.
That new Millennium optimism it had going for it.
Yeah, and then, of course, with Millennium optimism comes New 52 reboots, and that DC new logo, when they rolled it out, when it first came out with the page turn, I'm like, I was kind of against it. But then I saw them implementing it with different character and team themes, and with different effects around it, and I'm like, this will be cool, especially if when they implement it into like their movies and animations, they have the page actually flap open.
That would have been nice.
Didn't do that or any of those things. They showed you.
Didn't they?
They showed you the plans where it was like DC with Watchmen, DC Green Lantern, DC Batman, DC JSA. None of it was implemented. None of it was used. It was so bizarre. I guess because it was hard or something. I don't know. But
I mean, you say it was hard, yet we comic people who make videos online, it was very easy for us just to grab the image, cut out the background, and put it on whatever we needed to put it on.
It's true, and I've seen other people do customizations on this new logo, which really is just, like you said, the 70s logo, and I've seen it used well, I've seen it used not well. I kind of like it. It's simple, it's classic, it's what they're looking for. Because in the next 5 to 10 years, they're going to go back to the Bullet logo.
Yeah, that's what Sal's hoping for, just fingers crossed, like Bullet logo. I
mean, like, honestly, I kind of dig the one they're using right now, especially if they start theming it, or at least if they use it, like, in a very simple, just a brand. Just, bump, there's your logo. Kind of like the way some of us use our logos.
It's funny. It's so funny you should say that. It stuck out to me. I'm like, light shade of blue on white. It's basically the Cape Joel logo, isn't it?
Or is the Cape Joel logo the DC logo?
I would probably side with the Cape Joel logo being the DC logo, just because of the fact that DC's been around since like 1930 something.
Yeah, 37.
They've been around for a bit. They've been around for a minute, a hot minute.
Yeah.
A hot minute, yeah.
But
no, I'm with Sal on that one. Like that Bullet logo was like that just screamed DC Comics back in the day. You know, it just oozed DC, and I love the way that thing.
For fans of a certain age, that's a hard. Marvel has undergone far fewer logo changes over the years.
No, they simplified it, and then they just left it alone. When they, I remember the old one where it was an M, and then out of the top of the M, they had it say like Marvel in this fun script, or no, it was Marvel in block lettering, and then in the M below it was a fun scripted comics, and that was it for a while. And then they went like, burp. It's a red block with the word Marvel in it.
Marvel
the
in
end.
it.
It's Cooke.
What more do you need? Yeah, it is. You're right. It absolutely is Cooke. It's the Cooke of comics.
That, I mean, like, you know what? Marvel would pay you $20 to say that on camera because that is kind of what they're going for. I mean, especially when DC, after they threw away the Bullet logo, when they went full blue, when they were like, no, Marvel's red and we're blue. They're
we'll be
Coke,
the polar opposite,
and we'll be Pepsi. Don't make that distinction. Pepsi is known for what? Making serious corporate and branding blunders over the tenure of their tradition.
Michael Jackson lighting his hair on fire in a Pepsi
just
commercial.
in general, their decisions are just
that being said, I grew up in a Coke drinking house, and so the way that I rebel is I'm a Pepsi man in this day and age is what I go for. So, you know, just for whatever that's worth, Pepsi Co. Company, if you're out there and you want to send me something.
I think it's worth about 30 more grams of sugar. I mean,
it's like that old it's like that old video of that kid who's like he's like Coke in a Pepsi glass. He was like, I don't give a damn.
I have that, and I do that. Actually, I have some very nice Coke glasses that I drink everything out of.
But my question to you, gentlemen, is: do you like the new logo?
It's cool. I like it more than
I mean, it's the logo is DC saying, "Hey guys, like we're hip and we're fresh and we're new and we're trying things different," which isn't a bad thing. Yeah, we're getting back to basics, which isn't a bad thing. And I think it was a good decision, honestly, to change their logo up, because if you look at DC, like the logos have always changed based on like the company's agenda. Like, you know, they literally track with the crises and things like that.
Yeah.
You know? And so it makes sense to me that they would go that route and make things a little bit different. I think it's a good decision.
I think it actually lends. Oh yeah, absolutely. Hey, in 5 or 6 years, we might be getting a new one. Like Sal said, they might be going back to the bullet.
I mean, I liked the idea, and I really kind of liked how they Trojan horsed it. How they were like, we're doing all this Rebirth stuff, and also there's a logo, and they just released it. It was just
everything
on line-wide change
on their Instagram. It just changed overnight.
So smart.
You know what would have been a really good way to interact with fans? Is if they had said, "Hey guys, like we're trying to reinvigorate, we're trying to make things more interesting again. Like here are all the logos that we've ever had over the course of our history. You guys pick the new one," and that would have been a great.
I think the Bullet logo would have won an overwhelming majority, just because the people who are online are people who are born between 1982 and 2001, and those are the people who remember that logo.
You know what else would have been fun? Submit your own crazy DC logo.
Oh no! Remember when New Zealand suggested the flag change?
Yeah. I do know that.
That would not. No, I would not. I would never. If I were no.
I'm just saying.
Guys, we work with comic book fans, and like 99.9% of you guys are awesome, but that like 0.1%
just want to see the world burn.
Would want to see the world burn, and they would submit some ridiculous.
Look, I'm just saying, I have a great idea for a new DC logo. It's an ice cream cone, but he's jacked, has laser eyes, and machine guns for hands.
Yeah, I hate to tell you this, Joel, but I think that idea's been taken.
Damn it!
Which is frustrating as hell to say.
Oh my god, idea's taken.
Before we move on to another like solid topic, let's just really quick address, while we're on the DC hype train, the passing of Darwyn Cooke, which Joel, you expertly brought out. We've lost a legend. He's incredible. He was best known for probably his Justice League New Frontier graphic novel, which is unparalleled.
He did both.
He did the movie as well.
I was going to say, I have no idea who that guy is.
Dude, you would dig it the most, man. Darwyn Cooke is a legend. He was a modern Titan who drew beautiful work that was both nostalgic and modern at the exact same time.
Trust me, you've seen his work. He was like the variant cover king there for a little bit. Everything that came out had a Darwyn Cooke variant cover, and they were all beautiful.
Sal's like one of those people that gets mad at Michael Bay because movies are supposed to be art.
No. This dude was like, I mean, I don't know about his opinions about like schlock, but the dude knew how to pen an action sequence. So
yes, he did.
That said, you know, it's awful when this happens. We're gonna miss him terribly, but his work will live on and hopefully not be forgotten for a very long time.
I don't think it will. You know, obviously, a person who gave a very touching goodbye to him was, of course, a frequent collaborator of his, Jimmy Palmiotti. I say check that out.
Yep.
If you haven't, he of course did a bunch of variant covers for Jonah Hex and Batwing recently, and a bunch of other stuff that he did. Beautiful, beautiful cover work. In fact, when Jimmy Palmiotti made fun of his own wedding in Harley Quinn #0, if you look at the wedding guest, Darwyn Cooke is there because he was there in real life.
It's interesting that we should mention Darwyn Cooke because Darwyn Cooke also drew, I think, the Minutemen series during the Before Watchmen mini.
That's right.
And which, by the way, brilliant choice. He did a great job despite the decisions behind making Before Watchmen and its critical acclaim / non-acclaim. But Watchmen's kind of getting back into the news a little bit because of some DC Rebirth
I would say
leaks.
watch your words with that, because obviously the big piece of news, and it was the second one on the docket, was the DC Rebirth leaks. Now, obviously, we work online. We know what's up. We know what the deal is, but the comic comes out tomorrow.
Now, what I'm thinking is this.
Those of you guys who are watching this podcast right now, how many of you guys want to know one of the major leaks for
I'm thinking,
DC
I think
Rebirth?
we can talk about it without talking about it. Let's just say an older comic that DC had its hands in is going to be coming back and going to be very important to the DC Rebirth. Also, a beloved fan character who people have wanted back forever and ever is also going to be coming
not only
back.
that-
That's what I was going to say, like, very important to the DC Rebirth landscape.
The fact is, I think we could probably do a whole episode on that. And I think we probably should. So I don't know how much we want to talk about Rebirth, but we will say there are leaks. If you want to avoid what happens and don't want to know what happens in DC Rebirth, don't go online from 2 days ago until tomorrow.
Till tomorrow, yeah. I mean, tomorrow we'll know for sure. And it's super annoying. Like, it's obvious where and how the leaks happened, and that is that they sent the book to all the major sites, and that's why, along with the leaks, everyone did a bunch of reviews, and across the board, even though the leaks had some people being like, "Wow, what was?"
Yeah, forgetting the leaks for a second, just the general fanfare about the book, the general critical reaction to it is
very positive.
People
or at least
like
it has
it.
been, from what I've seen.
Well, because Geoff Johns was spearheading. Let me tell you something, man. All right, and this is why people were like, "Man, I don't know how I feel about DC Rebirth." It's like if Marvel went to Jonathan Hickman and was like, "Jonathan Hickman, lay the landscape and literally be the editor-in-chief of Marvel for however long."
Right.
I would be like, shit's about to be amazing for the next however long Jonathan Hickman stays editor-in-chief. Like,
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that, Rob, because while I am super excited about anything Geoff Johns does, Geoff Johns, consummate professional, consummate, just everything he does has been great. What I worry, though, moving forward about this new DC status quo that we have gotten a look at from the Rebirth leaks, just because Geoff Johns does it really well and because it makes really good sense in his story, I fear when other writers, lesser writers, start playing around with it. I don't want to see what Scott Lobdell would do with this. If
Not
he
even
got
a little
chance
bit.
to play with it.
no, but you got to remember, like, Geoff Johns is executive editor. He's running the show.
Yeah.
Now. Like, he's deciding what happens. So, I mean, they're reporting to him. Exactly. So, you know, if Scott Lobdell shows up and is like, "Hey, I have a really good idea for Green Lantern," he's like, "Well, what's your idea?" It's like, "Well, let's do this," which would obviously be hated, you know, by virtually anybody. You know, then Geoff Johns would be like, absolutely not, write something else. That's going to be the question. That is going to be the real kicker. Will Geoff Johns maintain a strict editorial policy, or will it just be one of those things of write what you think is cool and just go from there?
Right.
I mean, I have a feeling he's not going to run DC like a fraternity. I have a feeling like he would probably run a relatively tight ship. Like, he'd be the boss. Like, you know what he wants, but he's not a dick. Like,
yeah, if
I
you
think that
sucked,
might be how he would write it. But
like if you had no talent, you'd be a little concerned about it. But otherwise, that's probably going to be like a pretty great place to work.
Well, you know, you say that, but, you know, I mean, comics, as much as we love them, there's, you know, I've heard a lot of stuff both from outside and inside that there is in a lot of in the big two a bit of an old boys club mentality, and there's a reason why certain people are kept around and certain people are let go of, because, well, so and so is buddies with top brass here, and because of that he gets special protection.
And you mentioned Scott Lobdell. The fact is, everyone in the comics review world, which is to say no one in the industry who knows anything, has asserted that Scott Lobdell pretty much still writes main top-tier books because he's friends with everybody in charge. Yeah, and you know what? Whether that's true or not about him is definitely true in some regard. I mean, there's definitely been accusations about editors at DC who have
a lot recently
behaved rather inappropriately, to putting it very mildly.
Not even just not turning in good books, just kind of being not good.
Just being folk who probably should have charges laid against them, who are maintaining their positions as faces of the company because of their tenure. And the fact is, that is for me the most like corporatization of DC. Like the fact is, DC is like anything else. It's a company. It's a company that's run by people who are looking at their bottom lines, who run a company the way companies are run, and sometimes they're run by people who protect their friends and their
It's an art business, with emphasis on the business.
Big time.
Yeah.
Now that said, DC has been kind of very business minded and oriented for the last let's call it 30 years, where every time they've decided with they've done a crisis, it's been like, well, we gotta get these people to start buying some new books. We gotta start getting this all stuff, But I think that now, it's funny. You look at Rebirth as a reaction to the DCU. And it's funny,
the short-lived DCU, the 2-month reign of the DCU.
And it's funny because DCU tried to go. I think it tried to go creative first because it was churning out some really different books,
really interesting, really diverse, really out there titles. Yeah,
the mantra of DCU was creativity over continuity.
Right.
And that you could have a book for you, no matter what person is at DC. We have a book for you, now, DCU.
The world collectively stood up as one and said no.
Hey, I liked a lot of that book. I would say that was more their issue in Rebirth, where it's like, okay, back to meat and potatoes. Get out of here, Moon Knighter. Get out of here, Midnighter.
Yeah.
Get out of here, Midnighter. Get out of here, Starfire.
That's the amalgam character of Moon Knight and Midnighter.
Yeah.
Moon Knighter. Oh, I would read the shit
That's a book. Draw it, DeviantArt people.
Get on it, guys. That's
Moon Knighter.
Yeah. He's in love with himself. Mark Spector and Stephen Grant.
Nice.
Well, now here's a question. Like, if it was Moon Knighter, which personality would he be in love with?
Yeah,
is he in love with the cab driver?
I think Stephen Grant would be in love with the
polyamorous relationship. He's in love with all of him.
Yeah. He just loves himself. He's basically Tony Stark. But
man, we're writing a great book the more we talk about this.
Yeah, it's solid. Moon Knighters, 2017.
It's ours. TM, don't steal.
Yeah. So we'll talk more. I think we should table DC Rebirth spoilers until after the episode, just as a courtesy.
We're all going to be making videos on it.
That's a fact.
You'll know tomorrow. You'll know tomorrow very early.
And we're all going to talk about it again. There's no way we're going to be able to do a weekly poll next week without talking about DC Rebirth again.
It'll probably lead on over into the other shows if it's as big as everyone is saying it is. And, while we're on the subject of Geoff Johns, and we brought him up quite a lot this week, another big piece of news, ironically, this hit just as my computer broke. If you wonder why my webcam is much better than before, it's because this is a brand new top-of-the-line laptop I had to buy. Apparently, both he, Geoff Johns, and Berg, one of the two figureheads over on the CW TV side of things, they've been moved up into bigger, better positions within the DC cinematic universe and and Warner Brothers.
Yes.
I'm glad, man, because if anybody's here's what they need to do, man. DC needs to have a Kevin Feige of their own, where it's literally a fan. Geoff Johns would be the perfect person for that. Where they're like, Geoff Johns, what direction should the DCU take place in? He's like, reboot everything, bring in Green Lantern, just relaunch that shit.
Well, let me break your heart, though. He actually came out and clarified it yesterday, late yesterday. There was an article. I forget if it was Newsarama, I think,
probably,
who came out and he gave an interview and said, yeah, my position. I just I'm the guy who speaks for the comics to the movie people, and I make sure everything is super. I'm like, oh, so you don't actually have any power, is what you're saying?
Yeah,
This is like kind of not an empty gesture, but I would hope, my hope against hope is that because he's the comic book guy, here's maybe hoping if they have a question or if they have a debate internally when making the movie where it's like, hey, should Batman shoot people? Should Superman break this neck? I'm hoping Geoff Johns can come in slow-mo and be like, no,
it sounds...
No, don't do that. Please, for the love of God.
It sounds like he's going to occupy a kind of similar job to what Bendis did with the Marvel creative team, where even when Sony was still making decisions about Spider-Man's character, they when they were doing their first reboot, they said, organic or mechanical? Bendis? And he's like, mechanical. And they're like, thanks, Bendis, I don't care. And then they just went with that.
He's the resident voice of the comic community, where it's like, what's going to make your people flip out if we do it?
What will avoid a Twitter war with us? Mechanical.
Yes,
thanks a lot. Moving on. Like, I think that's where Geoff Johns is going to be. I don't think that Warner Brothers would make a Kevin Feige out of DC. I think that Warner Brothers thought their Kevin Feige was Zack Snyder.
And now they're thinking differently.
Because Zack Snyder, as it turns out, is kind of like a Michael Bay character who is like, and then they do gra, and then this guy, and then they have sex, and then they kill this guy, and they're like, well, yeah, but what happens though? Like, what's the story? He's like, what? That is the story. What do you mean?
Nice South Park pull there. And honestly, I'm not shocked by this, because if you follow Geoff Johns, the man is busy. He's overseeing this DC Rebirth right now. He's overseeing Flash, and I think a lot of what's going on in the CW universe right now, which is a more cohesive universe.
And he probably has more control there.
Yeah, he does, because he's earned it, is the thing, and he's writing all these books now. I mean, could you imagine heaping that on the poor guy's plate too, and being like, yeah, and also oversee the movies while you're at it, Jeff?
Yeah. Oh, and also the dude writes comic books, which is hard.
Yeah. Very hard. And now, that being said, Johns does have a background in films. He studied under Richard Donner, of all people.
Yeah. Which is kind of cool, but also kind of not, because Dick Donner made the first two, more or less, Superman movies, and remember when they tried to reboot Superman, and Bryan Singer paid total homage to him using Superman Returns, and everyone collectively stood up as one and said, no.
Denied. Also, hey, Geoff Johns in movies. Again, love you, Jeff. Love your comics. Love all this stuff. But you were also on board for Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern and Jonah Hex and a lot of other stuff where I'm just like, oh my.
Yeah. Dude, or at least the dude had a hand in it. There's nothing I liked about Jonah Hex. Green Lantern, I didn't think it was garbage, but I was like, there are a lot of odd decisions being made in this movie. The fact that we went to Oa at all kind of blew my mind. The fact that Toma Ray was a major character was kind of awesome. There were everything else kind of like meh, but the decision to make the suit a CG cartoon was really, really uninspired, and the decisions of questionable variety, continue from there.
And the saddest truth of all is that I'm sure people are like, well, why can't they get more comic people like in the rooms where they make the movies? Why can't they write? Why can't they do this, that, and the other thing? Because movie people don't like comic people, and movie people don't like TV people, and it's this weird, vicious cycle where it's like, well, why should I have to listen to Mr. Comic Books over here? I make movies. Why should I have to listen to Mr. TV? I make movies.
Well, it's also just such a more complicated process that involves so many more people. With comics, it is complicated in as much as you have editors and you have senior editors.
Everyone has their own challenges.
But when you can't just make the leap from comics to movies and expect them to listen to you, and it's much more complicated than people think. Like, they can't just make Geoff Johns a producer. He could earn that credit by, in name only, but like he'd have to produce movies for him to be a producer. And the fact is, like, he ain't. Like he like Kevin Feige's a movie producer who made movies before he worked on Marvel movies and had a proven track record, and that's why he has this job. Like it's like when they brought in Bill Jemas to save Marvel along with Joe Quesada and everybody else, like in the 2000s. Bill Jemas was a company man who saved businesses from bankruptcy, like
cutthroat corporate raider.
It wasn't just like they hired the best writers and artists and made the best damn books they could, and that's how they saved Marvel. That guy just had to be in the seat to say, hire the best writers and artists and make the best damn books possible, please. Really. But he also made some horrible decisions that were made by a guy who clearly was not a comic book guy. Like, we need to make like a card game. People like those Pokemans. You got all these colorful characters. How about you make and then he designed his own card game and was like, here, and they sold it, and it because it was 2001, and no.
Look, we got to get that Pikachu money. Got to get that yellow electric mouse money.
Yeah, put who's that? Who we got for that? Sentry, I guess. Okay, yeah, there you go. He's your shock rat. Moving on.
Okay. So reeling us in a bit.
Yeah.
So what was the next topic that we had?
Yes, what's the next thing?
Okay, so
Well,
from there...
Yeah. I was going to say, since we're on Marvel, we might as well go to the next Marvel topic.
Yeah, which actually the next couple topics are indeed Marvel topics, and kind of surprising topics too. This was big last week, but Agent Carter officially not coming back for a third season. It's done at 2.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not surprised by that because I got to be honest. You know, I watched the first season just based on sheer curiosity. I wanted to see what direction.
It was a mini series. It wasn't even a full season.
Well, the second season they had season 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, I watched the first mini series. Yeah, the first few episodes just to see what direction it would go in. Wasn't really for me. You know, Peggy Carter was a cool character, but Peggy Carter was one of those characters where she was only interesting insofar as her relationship to Captain America.
See, I really dug the hell out of the
I loved that
first
show.
miniseries.
I didn't dig it because I didn't. I mean,
it got cool. You got Dr. Faustus. You got the Red Rooms. It did a lot of cool world building.
Well,
that was okay. That was the cool thing, was to see some of the world building. But the issue, I don't know. Maybe it's me, but the issue, like what I like about world building is like the mysterious stuff that I don't know about, like the between the cracks stuff. You know, the weird, interesting things that seems okay. Like a really good example. So on Comics Explained, I did a video where I was like, here's the history of Weapon X, of like the entire weapon project from, you know, the time that from basically like the beginning, from Captain America, who was Weapon 1, you know, basically the first Weapon 1 program, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, Weapon 10, Wolverine, then Deadpool, the next 23, and going through the whole history behind that, because it's cool, because it's something no one ever talks about. No one's ever sat down and said, here's the whole history of like Weapon X, of that whole program. But with Peggy Carter, like we knew that stuff. We knew she built S.H.I.E.L.D. because we saw Captain America the Winter Soldier. Yeah. We knew about her involvement with Tony Stark because we saw Captain America the Winter Soldier. We knew that kind of stuff. Like we knew the backstory behind it all. I think that her role would have been more intriguing if they hadn't fleshed out so much of it in Captain America.
I thought it was good. I thought Haley Atwell did a good job kind of bringing the character into her own and being like, hey, I was like a golden age hero in my own right, is the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, she's a great actress. I mean, Haley Atwell is a beautiful woman and a great actress.
Absolutely.
Just adorable.
Just the stories that they were fleshing out, the character, the environment, you know, what they had going on. Just wasn't. I just didn't really care for it too much. Just
it's really funny
because they weren't telling me anything I didn't know.
You know what would have been nice, and what I think a problem with season 2. And keep in mind, I liked season 2, liked the stuff they did with Madame Mask, thought it was funny. I think they should have kept them as miniseries. Was the thing. I think the extra episode load was not actually good for Agent Carter. I think they should have kept it as a tight, solid 6. Make it like one like mini movie that you see in segments.
I will say the Madame Mask plot was solid.
It was. That was kind of cool. I saw a little bit of it, which, you know, okay, and here's a kicker. Of all the people to introduce Madame Mask, and they do it in Agent Carter.
I know! She's a legitimate Marvel villain that we could use in these movies. I was honestly, you know, this is spoilers for season 2 of Agent Carter. Sorry, both of you who didn't catch it or cared enough to not watch it, but still are upset about spoilers. But I was really hoping that by the end of it, she was going to get sucked into the damn, into the matter and get plunked out into the present and be a legitimate character.
See, that would be cool to me. Like if she was time displaced. That would be cool to me, because then it's like, well, let's see how she copes with the present. Like that would be cool, because then she would be like, oh my God, Steve Rogers. And then like that. See, that would and see, that's the other thing too, is I would like to have seen some major characters, but how likely would it be that like Steve Rogers would show up in Agent Carter?
Yeah.
Well, never, because he's frozen in the ice. Well, I kept waiting for them to pull out some guys. Like, you know, had the show continued, I had a great idea that they should have done like one of those replacement Caps that went crazy in continuity. Like one of those guys who goes on to become like the grand dictator, was like, I'm the commie hunting.
If that was
Captain
a plot
America.
where
man, Ed Brubaker, how much I love you for that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If that was a plot where there's a new Captain America and Peggy needs to know if it's Steve and she's hunting him down and then finally runs into him and it's not him and it's actually that character, like that would have been pretty freaking solid. I will say though, I dug it. I thought it was fun. It was a nice romp. It was just a lighthearted, like kind of silly, very much a product of the time that it came from.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so to answer the question, somebody said, why aren't the shows crossing over with the movies? To the best of our knowledge, whatever, the rumor mill just churns out all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
There's this infighting going on between, I think it's Jeff Loeb, the guy that's running the TV side, and Kevin Feige, the guy running the movie side.
I'd at least heard that it was Perlmutter that had the problem, but
Perlmutter is the one I believe because he's
yeah. Let's not get ruined by Perlmutter.
After our conversation in New York, we do not talk about Perlmutter.
But I will say, what I thought was interesting. I just recently watched a video in which they kind of like broke down the whole thing because like we made a video about the Kingpin showing up in Spider-Man Homecoming, which I think everyone should get behind. # Kingpin Homecoming. But if you want to see Kingpin in this movie, like they have to play ball in some way. And I remember watching this interesting video because I was like, I don't see any like people are throwing out all this information. They're like, can't happen. Sorry. But they don't quote anybody, they don't have any data, they have no link, they got nothing. They're just like, I know, I have empirical evidence that supports it, but I will not share it with anybody. Like, thanks a lot, Nixon, but no, that's not going to happen. But like...
I am not an Inhuman.
But like, the reality is, the only thing that you can go by is the leaked emails, by quotes from executives, and maybe actors who have a lot of sway. Like people were citing Chloe Bennett. Sorry, she don't got a lot of pull. But Robert Downey Jr. quotes, the dude pulls in $1 trillion every 5 years.
Yeah.
But one of the things I noticed was Kevin Feige had been on record in saying that he'd like to see the movies, especially the Netflix series, linked closer together with the movie series. And while it might be harder for the actors from the movies to appear in the Netflix shows,
the shooting schedules are
you'd
different.
be more likely to see the Netflix stuff cross over with the movies, which is why I thought there might actually be some relevancy to seeing the Kingpin show up in the Spider-Man movies. But I think that's kind of the word as it is right now. But as we know, the movie industry is a volatile business. We were looking at these leaked emails from Sony about the Spider-Man movie and what was happening, and literally, Marvel, Disney, and Sony were having talks, working out Spider-Man appearing in Civil War. But the Sony official line was, "No, we're not doing it." So we could actually be literally lied to by these people, and there could be deals going on, which is why I'm saying, no one really knows.
No one knows nothing, man. The greatest cosmic thing in the universe. Yeah. No one knows anything.
But see, here's the thing, Robert Downey Jr. doesn't even have to show up. It can literally just be literally
phone it in. Literally
hell, man. It could be, what's her name? It could be,
Gwyneth Paltrow?
No, not Gwyneth Paltrow. Kobe Smulders.
Yeah.
The one that plays Maria Hill.
She's been on S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, she could literally just show up on Daredevil and just be like, Tony Stark wants to talk to you.
Yeah.
Done. And then you don't even see him meeting with Tony Stark. It's just he goes and talks to whoever it is, like Foggy Nelson or somebody like that, and the overall gist of the conversation between Tony Stark and Daredevil is hinted at when he's talking to Foggy Nelson, and Foggy Nelson he says basically, the Avengers know what I'm doing and they're telling me to keep it up or something, or make a reference. See, Civil War would have been a great time to do that.
Yes.
like when you had what's his name, when you had Thunderbolt Ross going through this thing, we've got this, we had the Sokovia Accords, we had one man wreaking havoc throughout the entirety of Hell's Kitchen, taking out mob bosses and criminals. Yeah,
we had one man kill 4 gangs in 3 days.
Yeah, it's true.
You could literally,
with nothing but a box of scraps.
with a box of scraps. Tony built this in a cave.
It sucks that they killed him. I miss Jeff Bridges so much.
It was wonderful.
Was
dude, Thanos, Reality Stone, bring him back.
Bring them all.
I know we talked about this with our Civil War cast, but I just want to go on record and say thank you, Marvel, for not screwing up Baron Zemo and making him a villain who is incredibly amazing and intriguing and charismatic and not dead. But anyway,
yeah.
So no, there's so many opportunities for them to cross. Even just in reference to cross the shows over, and I know they did it to a degree. There was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., there was a scroll at the bottom of one of the news blips where they were talking about some conflict in Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah. And actually, even more so than that, the orphanage that Skye came from is the same orphanage that Matt was in.
No way.
But see, they never actually referenced that. Yeah, the St. Agnes orphanage. They never actually like referenced that.
You got to read it. They never say it, but if you read it.
You got to catch some scene somewhere, like some little form or some piece of paper or something like that. But in this, it was literally like a scroll at the bottom of a news blip, and they were talking about Hell's Kitchen, and I was like, I mean, that's cool to me, you know. But
heck, I mean, for D'Onofrio, I'm not even asking for much. Just have Spider-Man be swinging around and have D'Onofrio looking out of his Empire State Building office and being like, just shaking his fist at him.
I just want to see. I want to see the Daily Bugle permeate throughout the entire MCU, Netflix, ABC, everything.
Now that we have it, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. So all right. The other Marvel news regards. This is all sad news, by the way.
I know, right?
If you're a fan of Marvel TV.
Yeah, guess what, everybody? You know how they wrote Bobby and Mac off Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and they gave them a great send-off this season for them to be in their own show, Most Wanted? Yeah, ABC passed it. Oh, yeah, they passed on it. They're like, nope, we're good.
Yeah, so did I.
Wow. So
when I saw that episode,
they just fired them, basically?
Obviously what they're going to do for season 4 is they're going to have to work them back in.
Yep. Mm-hmm. There'll be a backdoor into the show integration episode. That was...
You know what? Can I say that's not a bad idea?
Yeah.
Because I'd never watch a show with the two of them by themselves.
I like those characters. I would never watch their show.
Continually one of my favorite things on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I liked them enough to follow them to their own day and time.
It's the same show. It's just them fighting bad guys behind the scenes.
We'll never know if it's the same show because they never got to make it. We'll never know what
the pitch was Marvel's Most Wanted, and it had Bobby Hunter, former S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, on the run. And I want to know. The S.H.I.E.L.D. is still trying to get out from the on-the-run stigma of the last 2 seasons. Like, come on.
The president says they're cool, though.
It was just like, enough.
Well, you would think by now, with like everything that's happened, that like Steve Rogers or somebody would be like, is it just me or is like S.H.I.E.L.D. not gone?
but guys, S.H.I.E.L.D. must work in the shadows to serve the light.
Yeah, by like traveling around the country and capturing Inhumans. Like, there's these major... They shot a ship into space.
They did.
Yep.
Out of New York. I'm pretty sure it was out of New York. You would think that like Tony Stark or somebody would be like, did anybody notice that a ship just got shot into space
and then exploded
from the middle of the city and then blew up? Like, did anybody notice that? Like, I wonder where that came from. Well, I'll just use my, ogling, which he used in Iron Man 2, and then it's just like, well, that came from S.H.I.E.L.D. Well, S.H.I.E.L.D's not gone, and then suddenly you've got a plot for a new movie. Like,
hey, Coulson, what's up? I'm happy you're not dead.
Wouldn't it be cool?
Yeah.
There's an old Jim Stranko book that I think everyone's thinking of that would be pretty awesome as a little like movie. Maybe direct to Netflix, or just a sensible budget that's released, in like January, called Nick Fury versus S.H.I.E.L.D.
I remember.
It's an old book. It's an amazing series, but like where they integrate S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of back into the MCU and have Nick Fury be kind of like the star of the movie. I mean, like obviously Coulson would be in charge, or he would be involved in some capacity, because we all know, as of the last episode of the season, there's a new director, and we don't know who it is.
Yeah, Coulson's no longer director. Also, hey, because we're just gonna spoil this now, life model decoys. Finally.
LMDs took forever.
Okay, that leads me
into
it.
Since season 1, we were theorizing that Coulson was an LMD. Now, like 3 seasons later, we got our LMD.
Well, the book that Sal was referencing, Nick Fury versus S.H.I.E.L.D., was literally about how life model decoys became sentient and took over S.H.I.E.L.D. So that's what.
I'm just saying, hey guys.
Okay.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
That's what happened. Yeah, like the life model decoy, like a group of them became sentient. They took up because the kicker was in the comics, you never saw the faces of the people that Nick Fury answered to, and so like the life model decoys had taken them over, and Nick Fury, of course, being Nick Fury, knowing everything about everything, figured it out and was like, he bailed out on S.H.I.E.L.D. Took like 1 or 2 people with him that he trusted.
I think it was Dum Dum Dugan.
Yeah, Dum Dum Dugan and somebody else, but like he waged war against Shield, and destroyed the life model decoy, so on and so forth, and then like took over Shield and was like, I'm the executive director of Shield now. Like I decide everything.
I am Sam Mother Flippin' Jackson. You will all render unto me.
He was just like the executive director. Nobody superseded him in terms of authority of like the national. And that was a cool thing when Nick Fury was the head of Shield, because he's like, I don't care what the president says, like that ain't happening.
Yeah.
Like it was really, really cool when he ran it. But anyway, like you could tie that in, you know.
Can I pitch another movie? I know I just pitched Nick Fury versus Shield, but can I just slightly tweak it, and now we have the movie that everybody's been asking for?
Please do.
Black Widow versus Shield.
Hey,
I would watch that.
And now you have the Black Widow movie.
I would watch the Black Widow versus Shield. Yeah, like Black Widow
that's
figures
your
out
picture
like
right there.
Took over. Yeah, that'd be awesome. I would watch that. Like,
Dude,
okay.
Scarlett Johansson versus Killer Robots with super strength.
And the Killer Robot, you could have cameos galore. A Captain America robot, a Thor robot, an Iron Man, like Iron Legions. You got tons of potential.
You could bring back dead people as robots. That would be amazing. Like Quicksilver robot. Hello.
Howling Commando robots.
Peggy Carter
robot.
robot.
You could tease new characters as robots.
Yeah.
You know. And then like just kind of like Cloak and Dagger robots.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't go see a movie that had Cloak and Dagger unless it had other people. But
hey, you're going to be watching a TV show with Cloak and Dagger, which is coming soon.
No, I'm not going to be watching a TV show with. I'll watch the first episode. Okay, look, guys. For those of you guys out there in Twitch land and the Weekly Pool land who have never heard of Cloak and Dagger. Like, Dagger does something, and then, like, Cloak teleports people.
She shoots light daggers.
She has energy
She shoots light daggers, whatever. She's like a crappy version of Psylocke. And then, like...
those are strong words.
Excuse me.
Those are
Psylocke focuses the totality of her telekinetic powers into a Psyblade. Dagger conjures light daggers from her essence.
Actually...
Let me just emulate my commenters for a second. But, yeah...
Okay, fine. Then like, name one important thing that Dagger's ever done in the history of Marvel Comics.
She died in Maximum Carnage.
The only important thing she did was die.
No, and that wasn't even important because she came back like 4 issues later. But
they were in Spider Island.
Were they? Oh, that was a spin-off. They weren't actually in the main book.
They got their own spin-off. And also, the ultimate version of them were really cool. I like
for like
those.
the 3 minutes they were allowed to exist before the world was destroyed.
Well, hey, they were in that book, and then they got spun off in that like new Ultimates team, which was like Miles Morales and all those.
Oh, that was the worst.
Then they stopped existing.
That book was horrible.
And they stopped existing.
So somebody's like, they were like the Runaways. See, Faust isn't here, so I can say this. I never understood why people cared about
were they even in the Runaways?
No, they weren't. Somebody was saying
they were like
the
Runaways. Which I agree with that comparison.
The kids are bad and they battle the kids.
Oh, cool. Cloak and Dagger is actually in BKV's Runaways series, and they fight.
Awesome.
Okay, that's cool, I guess.
Well, they are literally Cloak and Dagger are the original Runaways. They were orphan kids who were experimented on using like drugs, like illegal drugs, and then they were turned into mutant. Like I think they had mutants powers originally.
I think it's interesting the idea that we have a superhero team who are also a couple and who are also a mixed race couple. That's pretty cool.
There's a lot to go with Cloak and Dagger, but it's going to be on the ABC Family Network, so
that hurts it. So we're not going to be tackling issues. We're not going to have Cloak and Dagger go to the south and have to deal with that.
I doubt it.
Oh my god. You lost, Cloak?
You lost? Oh, jeez.
That'll be
You joke, but there's a scene in that. You could make some good drama out of that.
Yeah. Oh, you can make some incredible drama out of that. But
where he's like, no, but you will be.
Yeah. The only miniseries I want to see is like a one-off miniseries where like you have Blue Marvel. If they're going to give me a miniseries, that's what I want to see. I want to see Kevin Graveau's Blue Marvel in the form of a miniseries. The question is, how do you fit it in? And you don't. Like, okay. Here's an idea, and you guys in the chat, tell me what you think about this idea, and Joel and Sal, tell me what you think about this idea. So Marvel has like original graphic novels, just one-off graphic novels, and the graphic novels. Totally self-contained. Sometimes they are, sometimes they are. Sometimes they fold into things bigger. But Kevin Graveau's
like Rage of Ultron.
Like Rage of Ultron. But Kevin Graveau's original graphic novel with Blue Marvel was self-contained. It was in the Earth 616 universe, but there was no real timeline as to when it fit. It was just there at some point. Like, what would it like? It would be cool, I think, if like Netflix, Marvel had, since Netflix is the sole provider of Marvel and DC content now, or Marvel and Disney content, if Netflix started doing that. where it was just like one-off miniseries.
The fact is,
where it fits. It's just one-off.
You might be onto something, because if Luke Cage is really solid, as everyone kind of expects it and hopes it will be, and they kind of prove that, like, you know, there's life in this, you know, this landscape outside of the norm, like outside of capes and tights. I think it'd be cool. I think we could do that. I think that we could see a Blue Marvel miniseries at some point.
Yeah,
I think anything's possible. Fact is, they're bandying about ideas like we're gonna see, Quasar, you know, at some point in the future. You know, we're gonna see Simon Williams, and
some other stuff. Yeah.
You know, the fact is, like, there's no doubt in my mind that at some point or another, before the whole damn thing implodes on itself, we're gonna see Fin freaking Fang Foom.
We'll get there. One of these days, we'll get
there.
Dear
God, I hope not.
So if we see anything like that, we're gonna see Blue Marvel.
Why would you bring up Fin Fang Foom?
Because he's an awesome dragon.
No, he's not.
He is a dragon with 3 names. What
Let me tell you
something better than that?
If they prove that there is a real Mandarin and he controls Fin Fang Foom, and Iron Man has to fight them,
go and fight
that
him.
will make that'll make $200 million. Like,
no, okay.
That is Pacific Rim plus Iron Man. I am in.
It would be cool to see Iron Man fight a dragon.
Fight a dragon.
That would be
that's the stuff that, like, little kids' sandbox daydreams are made of. Like, imagine if Iron Man fought a dragon.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. Like, okay, I'd go see that shit.
At the very least, for morbid curiosity.
I'd go see it just to see what it's
just
like.
To see it, and
it's just gonna be like, this is Iron Man like, you know what? Now that I would go see it just because it's Iron Man fighting a dragon.
You literally did see Iron Man fight a dragon in Avengers.
It's true.
No, it was. That was not a real. That's like saying that you know.
A serpentine flying monster with sharp teeth.
That's like saying that they decided to create a movie with Thor that was about fear itself. And they had, like, the serpent, but instead of him being Thor, or instead of him being, like, Odin's hidden brother, he would be, like, an actual dragon. Like, no, that's not.
That'd be cool. I'd watch Thor fight a dragon, too.
I would go see it, but I'm just saying, like, it's just not the...
It's not...
Okay, what was the name? Like, I can't remember what the name of that dragon was, but there is, like, in Asgard, there is actually a dragon. No, there's actually a dragon that will appear during Ragnarok. Like, when the true Ragnarok occurs, it was in the Age of Ultron tie-in, when Black Widow picked up Thor's hammer. It was a dragon that killed Thor, and then it actually, I think it killed everybody in Asgard.
Yeah.
And then she picked up she picked up the hammer of Thor and became the new Thor, the Midgard serpent. There we go. Thank you. Yes, Set. You're right. It's Set. Yeah, like it is. Like that's what I'm talking. Like that would be.
That'd be sweet. I want to see. I want to see
Midgard serpent.
I was very dangerously close to saying Puff the Magic Dragon. Was that the name of the dragon that killed the Magic Dragon?
Now here's what I really want to see in Thor Ragnarok. I want to see oh God, what is his name? The fire demon, Surtur. I want to see Surtur.
Oh, I think you will. I think you're going to see. I think you're going to see Hell with one L. I think you're going to see a lot of really cool Asgardian crap.
Apparently, Jeff Goldblum has been cast.
I heard
some
that.
Unknown role.
Yes, I saw that.
Imagine Jeff Goldblum, the fire demon. Look at me.
Can he be Mephisto?
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Oh God, he would be an awesome Mephisto.
Gee, Spider-Man, I know you got a good thing going here with your wife, but maybe we could make a deal. I don't know. You know?
Jeff Goldblum starring in the new Thor Ragnarok as Coldman Vision.
Nice. I'd watch.
Dude,
Jeff Goldblum as Cole the Serpent. That would also be fun. Hey, I'm Anthony Hopkins' brother. Look at me.
Yeah, he'd be awesome as Anthony Hopkins' brother. I'd be cool with that too.
Like, okay, here's like Mephisto didn't show up in Ragnarok, I don't think.
No, I just want him to be
just picking a Marvel cosmic.
He would
Grandmaster would be fine too.
Oh yeah, I could see him being one of those guys.
Grandmaster. Yeah.
He'd be an excellent Grandmaster.
I mean, if you get a weirdo like Benicio del Toro and just be like, go be the collector, go be
be the collector.
Is he really confirmed to be the Grandmaster?
No, I just think if he's confirmed, then he's
I imagine he has to be one of those weird Masters of the Universe guys. Heck, make him the Gardener. Make him one of the weird ones.
Jeff Goldblum is playing the Grandmaster.
No, that's official.
It was reported 4 days ago by The Wrap.
If that was
He's joining
official,
the
I think
cast of
more
Thor.
people would be freaking out.
Yeah, I think if that were official, I would have a
No, like
poster of that already.
who's Jeff Goldblum? Like they reveal their new characters. Hold on a second. Carl Urban.
Carl
Well,
Urban's
yeah,
in it
Urban's
too.
gonna be
That's
in it.
right.
Dude, you know who he needs to be? He needs to be
Right,
the
Kate
other
Blanchett
brother.
as well.
Carl Urban needs to be Loki and Thor's other brother, the one people don't talk about, Boulder the Bride. He needs to be that guy.
And you're right. Kate
That would be
Blanchett will
cool.
definitely be hell.
That's good casting. I'm all for that.
Yeah, no question. Tiffany called that.
Thanks, Tiffany.
Speaking of actual.
Oh God, Tessa Thompson is going to play Valkyrie.
Ooh,
That'll be fun.
That's
Okay,
cool.
that
Oh,
was
yeah, a
official.
black
That
Valkyrie is going to be cool.
I'm
I'm
in.
all for
That's
that.
I'm
awesome.
down.
And notice the internet's not freaking out about this casting because the internet's like, who's Valkyrie?
Carl Urban's playing Scourge.
Oh, that's official.
No.
Executioner.
All right, that's
Is
cool.
that official? He's Scourge.
He's playing Scourge, and then Jeff Goldblum's playing the Grandmaster.
I was hoping that Carl Urban was just
He's
going to play
one of the-
Dread
he's-
and just be
He's one of
there
the
and
others
just.
of the universe. Oh God, you know what this means? If they play it out right, it means that Jeff Goldblum's going to face off against Thanos,
Oh.
and then he's going to get trapped in his own.
Poor Jeff.
Thanos. I see your. Jeez.
My God.
Hey, speaking of other casting announcements, I understand that somebody got sniped from another Marvel property. Is that right?
Yeah,
Joel?
yeah. These next two stories kind of go hand in hand together, but apparently Michael B. Jordan has a role waiting for him in the new Black Panther movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, what was it? He's supposed to be playing. What was the name of his villain from?
There was a
Jungle
bunch of
Tales?
different theories. Some people thought he could be playing Killmonger. Some people thought he
Yes,
could be playing a
Killmonger.
new version of White Wolf, perhaps.
Now that would be cool. I want to see him play White Wolf. Like I
White
want to see him.
Wolf, for
play
those
that
of you who don't know, is the Caucasian adopted brother of T'Challa in Wakanda, who go figure goes all Scar in the Lion King, and ooh, I hate you so much. You know,
I don't think he will, because White Wolf. I mean, that was the whole purpose of Christopher Priest introducing White Wolf, was to capitalize on the whole, element of Black Panther, his namesake, tying into the history of the Black Panther Party, so on and so forth. But like, I mean, Eric Killmonger, I think, would be a great addition, because I mean, he's like the. But the other thing that I think would be cool.
Killmonger got name dropped just recently in the newest Black Panther comic, so I would not be shocked at all.
But the other thing, I'd
Yeah.
like to see him play Reverend Akibi. Like, I think he'd be cool as Reverend Akibi.
That'd be
Like,
cool.
he's-
Black Panther has an interesting rogues gallery.
He
If
does.
people are willing to read into it, they're not like names that you would know, but you read up and it's like, well, that's interesting. Why isn't this guy in more?
Well, I mean, he's like he's from Reverend Akibi was from like the best run of Black Panther ever, from like 95 or 96 with Christopher Priest. Like the best run of the character of all time. At least I think so.
Yeah.
It was pretty solid.
It was pretty solid.
One of like 3 solo series that he ever had.
Jason Aaron wrote some Black Panther, and I can't believe I never read it because I usually read everything.
You're a
Jason
big
Aaron.
Jason Aaron fan, yeah.
I am. I'm like, really? He wrote Black Panther, and I didn't read it? How?
Yeah. Now, how will this fare with the Simon Kinberg, producer of Fanforstic, saying that he's still committed to making a sequel?
It's funny that these news came out the other way around. It was the Michael B. Jordan news, then this following right after it. So Kinberg, probably the only person who is still committed to another Fanforstic movie, saying, well, yeah, we'd be silly not to make another one. Just look at how great the cast is that we have, guys.
Yeah, now
I
what
feel like
that
I
you
feel like
don't
he-
have that, what are you going to talk about, Kinberg?
I feel like he's showing up at like Fox's headquarters, like, "Hey guys, are we still on for like the Fantastic Four?" They're like, yeah, man, we'll send you a script as soon as we've got it."
Just sit here. It's like he
Just sit
talked
here,
about
yeah.
Fanforstic, and then everyone slowly walks away and leaves
Yeah.
the room.
Yeah, and then like some new intern is like, "Who is that guy?" And they're like, "Don't worry about him.
Don't worry about him.
He'll stop showing up after a while."
Yeah. Once he
He'll
stops
get the
once he stops getting his checks.
Yeah.
6 months and he still hasn't gotten the hint yet.
Now, I'm hoping that this is, I mean, like, the quote was pretty irrefutable that Kinberg, like, believes that there's going to be a Fantastic Four sequel from Fox.
Because I'm sure he caught most of the flack about its failure, so of course he's trying to show everyone wrong and be like, no, we can make this work.
But I'm kind of feeling like, since you can't trust anybody, and the last time I heard anything about Fox, there was some consideration about reboots and deals and TV rights and so forth, that it might be that there is maybe a Marvel Fox deal going on behind the scenes, and the official like Fox like bottom line out like spoken like line is, yeah, they're going to make a Fantastic Four sequel. We're going to make more X-Men movies, and there's going to be a Gambit movie, and there's going to be like you got to say you got to toe the
Gambit.
party line, even if we're not going to do it, because you don't want anyone to know what we're doing.
You don't want to admit
to the best of
defeat.
your knowledge, there will be a Gambit movie.
I guarantee you that. You know what's funny? I don't know if there is going to be a Gambit movie.
I think if there was going to be a Gambit movie, there would have been one by now. I will genuinely be shocked if one actually comes out, because here's the thing. Making too much money off Deadpool, they're like, we could make another Gambit movie and pour resources into it, or we could just make another Deadpool movie.
Yeah, we could make an X-Force movie and make it like Deadpool, or put Deadpool on the X-Force, and all of a sudden we got ourselves all kinds of money. Like
Deadpool changed everything at Fox, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, he single-handedly saved the company's ability to prove that they can make decent movies, but the irony of it is they didn't even make that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're going to take all the credit for it.
Oh, they sure already did.
Also,
like, hey guys, like, is Fox really gonna make another Fantastic Four movie? Well, yeah, we made Deadpool, remember?
Yeah, like,
Also,
yeah, but that has nothing to do with what you're talking about, man.
I'm sure we'll do a bigger spoiler cast once we've all had a chance to see the movie and everything, but I actually did get a chance to see X-Men Apocalypse. Wasn't crazy about it.
You know, you and probably like half of everyone else.
I'm not even going to say it's bad. It was just painfully mediocre is what it was, where I'm like, oh, so we're just going to be on autopilot now, huh? After 2 movies of trying to reset the status quo and get everything right, now you're just on autopilot.
I read an article today that said, the headline at least said, X-Men Apocalypse is the second lowest rated X-Men movie of all time, and that's saying a lot because there's at least 2 terrible X-Men movies already.
Like, here's the thing. 3 is worse. Origins is worse.
Yeah.
But I'm still no fan of this one.
That sucks, because I was
Wow.
a big fan of Days of Future Past. I dug the crap out of that movie.
I liked it more than anyone else I knew. I went to bat for that movie quite a few times, actually.
And I dig the concept behind this movie, kind of like, we don't know what the future's going to hold, and the only thing we do know is that Professor X and Wolverine, Jean, and the original X-Men survive, and they have floaty alarm clocks. That's all we know.
Oh, prepare to be disappointed. I'll just say that much.
Well, that
Really?
sucks.
That's again, not going to spoil it. Let's just say the great setup and all the promises that the end of Days of Future Past offered, they do not live up to most of them.
That's weak.
Oh, wow.
That is, here's another problem. So I really liked Days of Future Past, how it jumped ahead a decade.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, so they're all going to be period movies now. Because, First Class was in the 60s. This one's in the 70s now. They jump forward 10 years again to the 80s. And you're really starting to run into this problem now where a decade is too much time, guys. I feel like I missed a whole movie in between.
Yeah. Yeah, because
Like,
X-Men Adventures don't take 10 years. They take a couple of months. And a lot happens, like the Phoenix, or Apocalypse, or Juggernaut, or Mr. Sinister, or Magneto 3 more times. You have a lot of... You have the Brood, you got the Shi'ar, you've got, like, the Morlocks, you've got the Brotherhood of Humanity, you got the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, you got all kinds of Brotherhoods and aliens and mutants and, what the crap are you doing? You got future stuff, you still have Cable you got to deal with, like...
Dude, I was sitting here thinking, like, I was doing the video on Apocalypse's 4 Horsemen, and I was sitting here thinking, I was like, why have they never done anything about the Morlocks?
Right.
Like,
Morlocks would be cool.
Morlocks would be cool. Like, this like group that's been existing under New York the entire time.
A well-known Morlock does show up in Apocalypse.
Ooh, is it Callisto?
No, actually.
What? What's the point?
Taliban?
Who's right on...
Storm, like, led the Morlocks for a while. Who's right under Callisto? There's like Callisto, and then there's everybody else.
I was gonna say you got it the second time. I was trying to do the on the nose thing without spoiling it, but you got it with the second.
Okay. Caliban, is that who you're talking about?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's
okay.
it's
That's
not
cool.
much
A mutant
spoiler,
that can track other mutants. Awesome.
Cool.
Good call.
Is there a lot of Jubilee in it?
Almost none.
That sucks.
She's there in the back. She was all over the promotional material.
Yeah.
Get a shocking lack of Jubilee.
That is frustrating.
You get a shocking lack of Jubilee.
Because first of all, Jubilee is a 90s character, and you've established you're going to make a 90s sequel, and then you wasted her because she's going to be too old to act like Jubilee in the next one.
Wow.
There's a lot of choices like that all throughout the movie, which is unfortunate.
Okay. Well,
here's one kind of funny thing.
Refraining from future spoilers.
We'll get. I'll save it. We'll get to it when we actually.
Yeah, we can do a whole episode about how lame this movie's gonna be.
In fact, we will. And again, I'm not trying to harsh anyone's buzz. I'm just saying I didn't enjoy it, and I'm not even saying it's bad. It was just very mediocre.
Just when you compare it to things like X2 and Days of Future Past and First Class, like you're kind of like, oh.
There's a lot of high cards in that deck, and coming out so soon after.
I love
Civil War.
X2. X2 is freaking cool. No,
Oh,
look at your weird terminology.
There's one good.
X2 was great.
X-Men movie.
X2 was solid.
No, there's two good
X2 was
X-Men
the
movies.
best
There's
there was
X-Men First
at the
Class,
time.
and there's Days of Future Past. Those are the only two good X-Men movies.
Okay, you can't compare First Class is not nearly as good as X2.
No, X2 sucked.
I would actually disagree with that. I would say
Sucked?
First Class is the best one because it's actually the closest to the comics because they actually wear their costumes and everything.
Just because they wear their costumes doesn't mean that they should, as evidenced by the promotional material for this movie. You saw that.
I'm biting my tongue on the costume front.
Everybody in the chat, which movie was better, X-Men 2 or
Days
of Future?
No, was it
Days?
First Class? You were First Class.
Which
First
one's
Class
better,
versus
X-Men 2
X2. Yeah. Just FC or X2.
First Class has one of the strongest arcs in showing us the friendship and eventual betrayal of the Xavier Magneto thing. They do that great in that movie.
Everybody's going to say First Class.
The Deadpool.
Better.
That's fair. That's a fair answer. I'm okay with that.
I agree. I like Deadpool more than all of those.
Look at all those First Class answers. Look, everybody's saying First Class.
Also, I like at the end of that movie, it's like a small-scale battle on the beach with the fate of the world hanging in the balance. It's not like we gotta stop an evil machine from doing an evil thing, which is such a terrible cliche now for superhero movies that we need to stop the evil machine.
Yeah, it's First Class is better. You guys are right. I agree with you guys on that.
X2 was the best for a while. X2, like I'm not even talking like the best.
Yeah,
X-Men
it was the
for a
best
bit.
until First Class came out, and then
I would say X2 was the best superhero movie for a bit too, before all the other stuff came around. Like I remember seeing that one in theaters when that one came out, and being like, you know what, this is the height of superhero dumb. It even had a stinger before stingers were a thing at the end with the Phoenix under the water.
Yeah, that was a real disappointment.
Yeah, it ended up being a disappointment, but I didn't know that.
It was pretty cool. I was like, wow, are they really going to go to space? No, they're going to go to the woods.
Yeah. They're going to hang out in the woods for a while.
They're going to go to the very inexpensive woods.
Dude, those woods, that was like the gathering of the Juggalos. It was the gathering of the mutants out in the woods.
Yeah.
This podcast sponsored by Friends of Humanity and Bolivar Trask. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Look, if Oliver Trask wanted to give us some money, and if the Friends of Humanity wanted to give us a grant, I'm not saying I wouldn't take it.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Look,
all you have to do is just tell people that mutants are evil. It's like, done and done. Tell me where to sign.
Look, Trask, I'll do it, but can I have a little personal sentinel to, like, walk around my house and carry my groceries and stuff?
So you want, like, a robot bartender or something? Like a robot butler?
Rosie the robot kind is what I'm thinking.
What the last bit of news that we have kind of brings it full circle because it's back to DC, and maybe we can wreck a little bit of Legends of Tomorrow while we're at it. But like, what was the big bombshell announcement? If you're a fan of the TV DCU.
Well, that Supergirl officially for its second season is now going to be jumping networks and heading on over to the CW, which honestly, that's where it should have been all along. It really should have.
It was like CW/Warner Brothers was like, I'm gonna let CBS pay to see if there is viability out of Supergirl.
Yeah.
Since we don't have enough faith in a Superman brand, we might as well test the waters and let CBS pay some money.
And on the heels of this, Berlanti and all those people said, you know, in the next season cycle, we are going to have a massive crossover event with all of our shows that are on every night of the week now, almost. Yeah. And it's going to be a big thing that's going to cross over all the shows. And no doubt, I can already tell at the end of it, it's going to involve the Supergirl cast making the jump to the main.
Will it be the cast, or will it just be her? Like, I guarantee you, Callista Flockhart does not survive this experience.
They're going to take up all of National City, and they're going to drop it in the CW universe, because National City is in the comics now, actually. They made that canon, so, you know.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, like DC has shows on every day of the week, only one of which I watch.
Which is The Flash. Well,
Flash. Which, by the way, comes on in like 2 hours, an hour, something like that.
I watched all of Legends. Legends had maybe 2 good episodes in its whole run, and I was ready to wash my hands of it until they started teasing stuff at the end where I'm like, okay, you do that and I'll forgive you for not being able to tell a good time travel story in 16 episodes.
Yeah.
So is like Legends of Tomorrow officially done now?
Yes, it's done. They finished at 16.
Okay, so like, are they canceling it?
No, it's getting a season 2. I'm almost certain. I don't know if they made it official, but I'm almost certain they're getting a season 2 off the back of it.
Did they? I assume they defeated
Vandal Savage. Yes,
Vandal Savage. Yeah,
yes,
I assume they did.
In one of the silliest defeats of all time, where I'm like, really? Are you kidding me? This is how you did it?
What happened?
Okay, so like all season long, they're building up this thing where it's like, oh well, Vandal can't be stopped. He's immortal. If you kill him, he'll just regenerate. He's friggin' Cell from Dragon Ball Z. He'll come back every time. The only way we can kill him is if Kendra, a hot girl, can kill him with an ancient Egyptian nth metal artifact. That's the only way. And Kendra has a chance to kill him, but she doesn't because of stupid contrived reasons. So Vandal has an even more stupid contrived plan where he's going to blow up time with 3 Thanagarian meteorites at 3 different points in history. He actually recruits himself to do this because the Master kind of did something like that, and this show loves to rip off Doctor Who. So they do that, and they have to fight him at 3 different points in history. And then out of nowhere, they invent this thing where it's like, okay, look, but if we kill all 3 of him simultaneously, then he'll stop existing, and we'll have won. And that's what they do, and I'm like, you really needlessly complicated this.
Man, that sucks.
Now, Caleb asks an interesting question.
That sounds bad. That sounds really bad.
If they do, would you want to see Gotham pulled into this universe?
No. Leave Gotham as far away from this as possible. I watched Gotham probably longer than anyone else, 1.5 seasons, and I'm just like...
But Netflix paid a lot of money to get it. It must be worth a lot.
They paid a lot of money very prematurely. They paid like $80 million for exclusive rights of that, and I'm sure they kicked themselves when they were done. I actually reviewed Gotham for a little bit, much like I reviewed all the other shows. It consistently barely even broke 500 views of people caring enough about the reviews. And that was even when my channel got bigger. And I'm like, you know what? It's not worth it. It's not worth my time. Not even the fans. Like, the only people who stuck around, like of the 400 people who stuck around, they're like, nah, I don't watch the show, Joe. I just want to hear you freak out about it.
Right.
Wow. That's
should they bring in a Bat character? They obviously can't bring Batman, but maybe Nightwing.
Bring in Batman Beyond.
Batman Beyond?
Ooh, that'd be
fun.
Bring in
Terry McGinnis.
Yeah, from the far-flung future. I'm all about that.
Yeah.
Terry's cool. Great. Do it.
It would print money just because it has Bat in the name, and DC seems to be like practically the DCB.
Or, you know, if you want to do something crazy, hey, here's Luke Fox Batwing.
That'd be pretty cool.
Nowhere. Here's a Bat character who can fly and has armor and can do a bunch of cool stuff. Is related to Batman, but is far enough removed from Batman.
Yep.
Yeah.
What about Talon? I love Talon. Can we get Talon in there?
Talon was really cool when he was just a nameless, faceless guy.
Yeah, Talon was cool when he was a bunch of them, and in that one story.
I will go to bat for Calvin Rose until the end of time. He was the hero of my generation, damn it.
He was the hero we need, not the one
he was the hero we needed, and he got ended way too soon. Although, God bless the writers of the 2 Eternal books, both Batman and Robin Eternal, because they both work in the end. And then Talon came and helped everybody.
Nice.
Yeah.
So,
those are the books that keep him alive and keep him around.
There you have it. So, gentlemen, since there won't be a post-show, I figure we wrap things up by asking you what you're working on to this week, and if there's any books you recommend that are coming out that you kind of can't wait to read.
Oh God, like it doesn't come out until actually it comes out in a week or 2. We get the origin of the Ultimates.
Yeah.
Which I'm really excited about because
I gotta pick up on that.
Dude, the Ultimates is so good.
Yeah.
How many people in the chat right now are reading the Ultimates?
Because I'm not gonna lie, Rob, you're being a really good hype man for the Ultimates, much like Sal is a good hype man for Vision.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
You know why I love why I love the Ultimates so much? Because it's something we haven't seen before.
Now, it's also cool, because isn't it like kind of giving you a little bit of explanation to the universe we're in now?
Yeah. It's giving you, dude, it's so good. It's giving you like Molecule Man gives you an explanation of the universe, and he was basically like, Secret Wars was an event that for whatever reason things changed, and he's like, but things didn't really change. Like he's basically like, all the stuff before Secret Wars happened.
Right.
Like it was all there, you know. Like it's all been, you know, it's all happened. It's all there. Like, did things change or are they still the same? And if they're not still the same, why do some people remember things before Secret Wars, and why don't some people remember things before Secret Wars?
Yeah,
so
and
questions
the idea
the fans have been asking.
Exactly, and that's why I love Ultimate so much, is because they're addressing what the fans want to know. And I think that what Al Ewing is going to do with this, because Eternity's like chained up, I think what he's going to do with this is he's going to kind of throw it out there and say, when the new universe was formed, something went wrong, and for whatever reason, like either Reed Richards, like the Fantastic Four, or maybe Molecule Man himself, or somebody screwed up, or maybe even like Eternity himself was forced to remake the universe, or forced to exist in a weird way. Something happened somewhere along the line, and things goofed. But no, like it's really solid. Like I'm on the edge of my seat, wanting to know what direction Al Ewing takes us in. Now here's the question: is Al Ewing's fleshing out an incredible story? Will he be able to continue fleshing out incredible stories?
Yeah.
Like, is he going to be able to? Now, if I were Al Ewing, like I would be like, hey guys, Mad Jim Jaspers is back. And I would freak, and I would be like, a guy that can warp reality, and he's a cosmic, threat. Like he's an omniversal threat. Like awesome. He fits the category, because the Ultimates deal with
Mad Jim Jaspers, the poster boy of Rob's personal obscure comic book character stable.
No, dude, this is one of the most powerful beings ever in the history of the Marvel Universe. Like, if you don't know who he is, you got problems.
You know what? I think this needs to be a topic for another episode. We need to come up with our stable of characters.
No, like it's man, here come that boy. Like I want to see
that boy.
I want to see Mad Jim Jasper show up, man.
Now here's a question.
We need to have a Dat Boy episode.
Boy.
Is Al Ewing the new Jonathan Hickman for you, Rob?
No, dear God, no. I don't think there'll ever be a Jonathan Hickman for me. No, because nobody writes stories that well. Like, Al Ewing's good. See, if Jonathan Hickman were writing the Ultimates, which I don't know why he wouldn't have, it would have been it would have been incredible. Like, nothing would make any sense. It'd be confusing as hell. And it would be like, I don't get what's going on, but I would read it because I'm like, it's Hickman and it's going to pay off. And then we'd get to like 2019. And then it would make sense. And
right, exactly.
It was
go back and read it all in train.
It was worth spending 3 years.
We don't have until 2019. I figure I should pick up Ultimates too, because Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, is on that team, and I just looked at all my pull lists for Civil War 2, and I'm like, oh, I don't have anything with Captain Marvel, the leader of the opposition, in this thing. Man, my reviews are going to be really biased and one-sided for Iron Man and his team.
Okay. Now, if you want to know, like if you want to know the lead up to Civil War 2, it's literally covered in Captain Marvel and the Ultimates.
Yeah.
So it's literally, if all you guys want to do is know the lead up to Civil War 2, like go read Captain Marvel the first 6 issues, go read Ultimates the first 7 issues, and then read Free Comic Book Day in that order, and you'll know everything you need to know about how Civil War 2 starts. That's one of the things I do like about this, is that because Civil War 2 is so soon, there's not like 3 years worth of lead up. The problem is, Axel Alonso was literally like, we did this because Captain America Civil War was coming out and we're capitalizing on the movie. So he's like, we had 4 months to flesh the story out.
Yeah.
To plant the seeds for a major super event.
Yeah, he was like, so my thought is, Marvel, I love you. All new, all different Marvel isn't what I thought it would be. It's not bad. It's got some good and some bad. Every comic book industry does. I have no faith the story's going to be good. Brian Michael Bendis is writing it, so probably it may very well be. But
I enjoyed the 0 issue. I thought it was a good starting point, but I'm like, you know what? There's still plenty of places for you to fall on your face in the next 8 issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rob, what's coming out on Comics Explained, man?
Yeah. So anyway, so because DC Rebirth comes out tomorrow, I have no videos coming out. Tomorrow, is dedicated to literally just reading up on DC Rebirth and figuring out what's going on.
It's an 80-page giant, so we're gonna have
for what, $2-3?
Yeah, it's super cheap. And so what I'll be doing is what I'm gonna have, I think on Thursday, either Psylocke is coming out or Teen Titans is. It's Thursday and Friday. Psylocke and Teen Titans are coming out.
Nice.
One of those two. I can't remember which day each one's coming out on. And then on Friday, I think I'm going to do another one of those episodes of the Rundown. Deadpool did decent enough, but I'm going to test it again with something bigger, like Apocalypse's powers.
Okay.
And then
powers
Saturday,
doesn't he have?
Yeah, what powers does he not have?
That'd be a shorter video.
Yeah, I could use a video where they actually just where you literally run down exactly what Apocalypse can do.
Yeah, and then on Saturday it's going to be Harbinger from Valiant Comics, and then Invincible. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Popular books. Joel, what's happening, man?
Well, if you head on over to the old Cape Joel channel, I just put out my newest review for Uncanny Avengers issue number 9. This is the big return of Hank Pym as fused with Ultron. I was trying to get a good name going, and maybe the Weekly Pull community could help me out on this. Do you prefer Hanktron or Ultra Pym?
Hanktron.
Hanktron.
I like Ultra Pym.
Ultra Pym. It's good, right?
Ultra Pym makes him sound like a pimp.
I know, right? Which he kind of is, because he keeps that hand strong, doesn't he, Hank?
Oh
He's
my
been
God.
known.
Oh God! Wait a minute. Like Preacher came out, didn't it?
Yep.
That's the show.
Well, then I'm doing Preacher this weekend.
There you go.
Sorry, all you Invincible
Sorry,
fans. Preacher.
Invincible.
You just got bumped for Jesse Custer.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like all 5 Invincible fans are gonna be so angry.
Rob just heard the voice of God, and it told him to do Preacher.
Do my book.
Preacher, Rob.
Do Preacher, Rob. Do not do Invincible.
Yeah.
That does not make any sense right now.
That's
Do
fair.
Preacher.
This has been God. Also, too, on Wednesday, 8 o'clock, as it always is, you can check out the newest episode of the Comic Multiverse, which is the show I do with Matt. We cover a lot of the same news and everything, and we joke and screw around and make dick jokes. It's a good old time. You can find that show on Podbean now. That show was downloaded over 200 times on Podbean. Thanks, guys. I didn't know you cared enough to carry around the show with you on your phones and on your devices, so you can carry a little piece of Joel with you everywhere you go.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. What about you, Sal? What do you got happening?
We got, let's see what's happening. We got back issues coming out. It's going to be on Superman Doomsday Hunter Prey, which is the first resurrection of Doomsday.
That's gonna
of
be
many.
Freaking
Dude, the
awful,
cool thing
but
about that too is it's literally like, here's the backstory of Doomsday.
yes.
Like, that's gonna be cool.
Yeah, it'll be very fun to
Get to
talk about.
the baby keeps getting thrown against stuff.
Yeah. That's not how that works. It comes up quite a few times. Let's see. We just did our hype video for Vision. We did a hype video for Wilson Fisk being in the MCU, the proper, like the movies. And we're also going to do
Supergirl video.
this is spoilers for next week, but we are going to do a back issues on the DC Rebirth episode, or on that issue. So it's going to be a full...
that gets its whole thing. That gets
the
a
whole thing
episode
on the
of it.
couch. We're going to talk about it. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to shoot that on Thursday.
Hey, if I fly down to Jersey, can I be in on that? Can you tag me in?
Right?
Oh man, somebody said Pym hand. Ultra Pym. Got to keep that Pym hand strong.
Gotta keep that Pym hand strong. Fan art, everyone. That's a fan art call to arms right
Here we go. Hashtag Ultra
No,
Pym.
we're campaigning to try to get Wilson Fisk in the MCU, to get him to appear, to have him appear in.
Yeah, if you guys want to, by the way,
Spider-Man
tell
Homecoming.
anybody or share your opinion that Wilson Fisk should be in the next Spider-Man movie, use the hashtag Kingpin Homecoming. And check us out. Also, of course, Joel and I are going to do a podcast on Wednesday, the Elseworlds Exchange. It's just a conversation about one topic. It's a lot of fun. Check it out.
But
if you
we
have
don't know
time.
the topic yet. We usually choose it an hour before we go live.
Yep. And yeah, so I guess that's it. So from all of us here at the Weekly Pull, I want to thank you for watching and listening, and we'll catch you guys on the flip.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Peace.